I got to tell you, what we're going to watch here is actually pretty amazing. We're going to watch Director Stoval be indignant that the Opal members actually talk to him in tongues. I mean, it's quite a little speech he's about to give. I'm going to let you watch the speech, and then I'm going to comment. But it's really an incredible, it's incredible. I mean, of course, these board members are trained to defend each other's honor and the honor of that slug McFarland. I mean, you'll never hear a dissent out of them. It's always everything's wonderful, everything's lovely, and we're the greatest bunch of people. And you're going to hear him say that right now. Let's hear his pontification before I comment.
I thank you for coming and testifying. What I will take a little bit of offense to is the fact that this board, myself and the other board members included, are very, very dedicated to the task at hand and everything that Opal wants to look for and move forward as Bus Riders Unite. The comment that really actually affected me the most was the fact that this board is not listening to the individuals that utilize our system and our service the most, and that's the youth that they're referencing. And I think to the times that I've sat with Opal and Opal members and Opal's leadership, and consistently I have heard their focus on two things: transfer times and youth fairs. And I believe this board has been consistent in listening and taking action, in congruence with the idea of sustainable organization. And, I sit here, as you can probably tell, a little bit frustrated that there's been this call for reform when each of my board members, each of the board members and myself are committed intensely in the idea of making sure the youth utilize this service at the highest and best level that they can. And to say that we have not included and engaged in the conversation is something that I cannot sit here with a comfortability and say has not occurred. Now, it may have not occurred in the exact way that certain constituents and stakeholders have desired, but I can tell you the message has been drummed into each of us numerous times to the degree that we have listened and we're moving forward with action, and we're still open for ideas, thoughts, and comments. Now, again, this is the second time that we have had this great group and dedicated group speak in front of us and give us their testimony and then leave immediately afterwards. And that to me, that bothers me. And Vivian, I thank you for sticking around and giving us your ear. We are committed still, and I know myself and the rest of these board members are very, very committed to listening and engaging in conversation and discourse that gets us to a mutual conclusion and outcome that continues to build an incredible, stable system. And to that end, we will continue to listen. But I can tell you that the frustration I feel right now is the frustration of having spent hours with leadership of Opal and Bus Riders Unite listening, and then getting told that we don't listen. To that end, I take a deep offense to that. Now, that doesn't mean I will stop listening. It doesn't mean I will stop taking the meetings with Opal and Bus Riders Unite leadership. I will continue that dialogue and that discourse because it's something that's meaningful. But I could not leave this meeting today with this heavy on my heart, in the sense that this board, and I know they listen intently, I know they're very dedicated, and myself, I'm very dedicated. And to that end, I had to say something. And again, we will continue to move this forward. We will continue to work hard and listen. And again, I'm disappointed that there won't be anybody around to comment on the ordinance that we're going to have the first reading for. But again, I could not let this go without saying something in regards to the frustration I feel about the indictment that has just occurred in regards to this board not being sympathetic, empathetic, and listening to this very important dialogue and discourse.
Okay, he just rambled on there about how great they are for 4 minutes. That was 4 minutes of him defending his honor and the honor of his fellow board members. Of course, for him to actually say that is quite outrageous. Right? He should have just kept his mouth shut. I mean, you have dozens of members of Opal who, as a group, have come to the conclusion that you're not listening. And here's this one guy out of however many are there saying, "Oh yeah, we are listening." Well, I really don't know if he's been paying attention at all. I mean, his group of people, his board of directors has hijacked the Opal 3-hour transfer as retaliation, and they've said it was retaliation of Opal filing a Title VI complaint. Those people, including you, Stoval, have offered Opal the 3-hour transfer if they drop the Title VI complaint, tit for tat. If that's not retaliation, I don't know what retaliation is. And here you are trying to pretend that you've been listening. You haven't been listening to anybody. Furthermore, when Opal made the presentation 2 years ago questioning McFarland's budget, that was the budget where McFarland had the secret raise, and Mr. Stoval was in on that. He was a board member when he sat and voted for fare increases and decreased services, all while he knew McFarland had given himself a raise. You have no justification, Mr. Stoval, to say that you've done anything correctly as a board of directors. You've done everything wrong. And you can sit there and lie through your teeth. But those of us out here know you've been lying and you've been covering up for an inept general manager and an incompetent board of directors.